How you prepare for a golf tournament?
Well, I hit balls maybe 20 minutes, putt a little bit, smoke 4 or 5 cigarettes, drink 3 Diet Cokes, and go to the first tee. Some days I won't even go to the range.
There you are. Look at that beautiful face. Jim Moore, how are you, go-to guy on a Friday? Coog, Dad.
Your voice changed once the episode started.
Oh, you mean I wasn't
just talking
swearing
like normal Jason Puckett, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's showtime, everybody.
I like to get a little excited for the show. Maybe show some excitement.
What's there to be excited about?
It's Friday. That's what's it's Friday. Come on, aren't you excited that it's Friday?
Not really.
Every day's a vacation for you, so it doesn't really matter.
I know. Every day's a Saturday now.
So
oh my God,
for you, it's like whatever.
I am so happy that I worked 7 nights in a row. I haven't worked 7 days in a row for, I can't even remember how long. 7 concerts in a row.
Come on.
And last night, can I tell you real quick? I know you want to get to Limback Lumber, and we really appreciate their
Go ahead.
Sponsorship.
You do you.
So last night I'm on the river path, and people are not allowed to go on the river path between, one area down by Pastini's restaurant and then where the bridge starts to go over to the river so you can go to the concert.
Yeah, we've established that we don't like this rule in Bend.
No, we don't really like it, and I understand why, people who are going to the concerts don't like it, but I still have to enforce it and tell people they have to walk around to go to the bridge. Well, last night, this guy who's probably like 40 years old, he and his wife, I said, "I'm sorry, sir, you'll have to go over by Lady Bird and walk around to go to the concert." He didn't say a word to me, and he kept walking. And I said, excuse me, sir. Sir, excuse me, you need to turn around and go the other way. And he kept walking.
Yeah. And
then I asked him one more time nicely. And then his wife at this point is walking like 10 yards behind him. And I go, is that your husband? And she just didn't even say anything. I could tell she was embarrassed. And then I went unprofessional. I just thought, I don't care. I mean, what? If I get fired for being unprofessional, this guy was, I just said, "Hey, you're a fucking dick, pal." And I yelled at him. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
and did he turn around and respond to that?
No.
Good for him.
No.
You know what?
Going.
And
then the people at the restaurant out on the patio, they were seeing all this happening, and I could tell they were all amused, and they felt bad for me.
I applaud him, by the way. I do.
Why?
Because it's a dumb rule, and he's had enough of it. And he's like, "Why can I not walk here?
Yeah,
it's a walking path. F you, town of Bend, and your stupid concert." I'm not. Was he trying to watch the concert, or was he just trying to walk?
He was just walking.
Yeah, I'm with him. Okay,
well, that's fine. Well, in his defense, I break rules too all the time, so. Who am I to question him? But I just knew that if my boss saw this guy going through, he'd be like, "Hey, Ash to Jim, we got these little walkie-talkie things, I go, yeah. And he'd be like, "Hey, man, why'd you let this guy and his wife go through?"
Yeah. So, I'd love to get video of you on that walkie-talkie. Can you use it? You're good with it?
I struggle with it.
I can imagine.
And then I lose myself going, "Hey, Jim to Ash, over." Aren't you supposed to say like?
Let's get the show started.
Yeah, go ahead, Limback Lumber. Let's go.
Yeah, Limback Lumber, Daily Puck Drop.
It's deck season.
It's deck season. All right, Daily Puck Drop every day at 10 a.m. We're inside the Puck Sports Studios, built by the glorious Limback Lumber. Hey, contractors, I'm talking to you. They offer free deliveries for everything from whole house packages to homeowner DIY projects. Jim and I are big DIY project people. They've got the largest stock moldings in the Northwest. Old school service because they've been doing it since 1930, kids. Call them at Limback Lumber or call Limback Lumber 206-782-3487. Visit them online at limbacklumber.com. Yeah, I'm on Team Dick. I just enjoy it. He's had enough of the rules, the unnecessary rules and regulations, and I'm with him.
Well, then after the dick took off, I went back to my post, and there were like 6 or 8 people that were streaming in.
Yeah.
And then I started into my
floodgates are open. Let's go. The old man has no phone.
I started into my spiel of, well, I'm sorry, you have to walk around. And then they were like, oh, we do? What? Why is that? And then I just went,
Yeah.
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, there you go.
Just go ahead.
Just Ash to Jim. Why are you letting everyone in? Jim to Ash. Fuck you.
No, Ash is cool.
Yeah.
Ash is cool. Yeah. It was a weird one, though, the other night, real quick. I know you want to get into the Mariners.
Go ahead. What was the
probably
concert last night?
Have you ever had this happen when you're just sitting there, and we have about a half an hour before we have to, do that thing of putting the barricades up and shutting and making people upset. So we just kind of BS with each other coworkers. So I'm just sitting there by myself, and Ash and another guy come up to sit down with me, and the first thing I heard right when they sat down, I caught the tail end of their conversation, was, so how many times have you tried to kill yourself? Has that ever been a conversation starter anywhere? When
I don't want to laugh or smirk here. These two, a group of them are talking just casually about, hey, how many times have you tried to kill yourself? Conversation.
Well, I don't want to laugh, but so why am I laughing? I just was like, I was so taken aback by that.
Yeah, and this was a serious conversation.
It was a serious conversation. So clearly both of them had, either tried it once or multiple times, and that's how the conversation kept going. And so then, what do I do? What do you think I did when they sat down? You think I changed the subject? No. I said to the one guy, and I really like him, and so this is terrible, but I've been through depression too.
Sure.
You ever dealt with that?
Not really.
Well, I have. And so it helps me understand a little bit what people are going through, because summer of '98, I cried every day for a month, so I have an idea of what they're going through.
Yeah,
but at the same time, I was like, wow, I've never heard that before, when two people came up into a room and sat down. And so
I've never experienced that.
I picked up, where the guy left off, and found out, that he really had a rough time, and he went out on his motorcycle, and he tried to he floored it and went 140 and just thought he was going to wipe out. And so that was, anyway, how's that for a start of the show there?
Well, that was dark.
I've never heard that. I've never heard
Can we go back to you just letting people in at the concert? No, I don't have it on my bingo card to walk into a conversation where two people are talking about how many times have they tried to, kill themselves. No, I have not. I've not experienced it. But anyone that is watching or listening to this, please seek help.
Yeah, well,
reach out to a family or friend.
I shouldn't even have brought that up. It's very inappropriate, unpolitically correct. I'm sorry.
Well, it's politically incorrect. You're detailing a story and interaction with people yesterday. There's nothing inappropriate about that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, God, I'm sure, maybe if the YouTube comments will be like, Jesus Christ, get rid of Moore. He's talking about people that are going through tough times and laughing about it.
Oh, there's plenty of other people that want to get rid of you. Just not for that, though. Just
people want to get rid of me
for other stuff.
Isn't this the kind of stuff you want from me, though? Do you want hard hitting?
No, God, I don't.
You know what I get sick of?
You want to talk? You want to talk about the Mariners game? Here's what I get sick of. Before you get to the Mariners, sure.
All these, and I get it. All these reporters are in Nashville. Greg Bell, Bob Condotta, Michael Shawn.
It's crazy how they all went there.
And then they all have these 20-second videos of somebody going one-on-one with somebody. I'm going, what the fuck, man? Who cares? I like the one where one guy threw another guy, on the one-on-one little blocking drill. Who was that?
That
Simmons,
was Jeffrey Simmons of Tennessee, who's a beast, who apparently is our starting left guard, down on picked him up like a schoolgirl and threw him off. To the side. So that doesn't. I watched that video about 100 times, and Simmons is a beast. Okay, but I didn't come away thinking, well, I'm real confident about this offensive line. Our one of our
Why
big
did you watch it
acquisitions.
100 times? Didn't you get to 95 and go? I think I've seen enough.
I'm exaggerating. Jesus.
Well, how many times actually?
5 times probably.
Did you get the 4 and think that was enough?
No, I just witnessed a grown man pick up another, like Lakeland Tomlinson's a 300+ pound guard, and he picked him up like a rag doll and just tossed him to the side. It was amazing. And I watched it like 5 times, literally 5 times, because I was just like, that is one of the best plays I've ever seen from a defensive player. And then I just came away thinking, that guy's our starting left guard. Okay. I know there's not a lot of Simmons out there, and they're not going to play him, but Jesus.
I actually watched it twice. So,
well, why'd you watch it twice? Why'd you watch it once?
And so, so here I am ripping these guys for their videos on Twitter, and I'm watching them. So, yeah, I get why they're doing that. It's like, okay, they paid for me to be here. I need to show you what's happening here. Yeah, so I do get it. Yeah. I'm trying to avoid the Mariners as much as possible. You should appreciate what I'm doing for you.
Well, I mean, what to discuss with these guys anymore? I mean, it's the same story over and over. What I find, one thing that I love about this industry that we're all in is just this, like, how everyone gets angry yesterday. It's just like, and I was going to tweet you or text you and say, when are you going to film something on social media and post it, or write something where you can let everybody know how angry you are? Like yesterday turned into, I'm in the sports media and I'm going to tell you how angry I am. If I don't write something, or if I don't post a video, then no one's going to know how truly angry I am.
Yeah. Did you read Adam Jude's game story in the Seattle Times? The reason I bring it up, 379 comments, and everyone was angry. Everyone. The other thing that occurred to me is, like, what the hell is Ryan Divish doing taking time off in the home stretch of a season? When I covered the Sonics, I didn't miss a game. So what the hell is Divish doing? Is he hanging out with his girlfriend and his stepkid or something? Or is that what he's doing?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Let him hang out with his parents. Is that okay? Let him hang out with his family.
I'm just saying that, these are pretty important games, and he's the number 1 beat writer, and I'm just giving him shit just to give him shit.
Well, I devoured a bunch of stuff yesterday watching that game. I mean, the game's in the morning. I'm doing work, and so all that kind of stuff, and it's happened at the same time. But it's just like, it's the same problem that's been the same problem forever with these guys. And I don't know why it's taken people so long to finally come to this conclusion. Something that we've been talking about forever, that nothing's going to change. If I had a penny for every time I said this, would be a millionaire. All right. It's not Scott Service's fault. It's not Jerry DiPoto's fault. It's the ownership's fault. And it's always been the ownership's fault. And how many times we've had to say that to people, and finally people wake up and realize that it's been ownership's problem. It's the same group. It's always been the same group. Nothing has changed. Stanton was part of Howard Lincoln's group. So if you didn't like Howard Lincoln's group, then you don't like this group, because it's the same guys. Chris Larson's the same dude. So, everyone wants to fire the manager. Fine, fire Scott Service. Do it. See what it does. I don't know if it does anything. I have no idea. But if you want to fire Scott Service, then fire Scott Service. But it won't change what's going to happen, because Jerry DiPoto's not going to go hire, number one, he's not going to go hire some manager like Lou Piniella. That ain't ever happening. He's not going to hire Joe Madden. He's never going to hire someone who is going to, challenge him. He's just not. That's not a reality. And then if you fire him, or even if you fire DiPoto and Hollander, what are you going to, it's still the same guy not wanting to write checks. So what's going to change? What's going to be different about it?
Well, yeah, I see your point there. I do. How do you explain, though, that this team offensively looked pretty good for a 10-game stretch after they got a Rosarena and Turner, and they seemed to have
it's pretty simple.
Was it just like that initial emotional surge and lift that you get from something like that? We just, over the weekend, thought, what'd they score? 22 runs against the Mets in 3 games. And so we figured they turned the corner at that point. I think most of us did. Okay, that's the Mariners team we've been waiting to see. But, now they get on the road. And by the way, you owe me $50.
I know.
I was pretty sharp to, forecast that.
Do you have Venmo or PayPal?
I have Venmo.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm writing it down now. Venmo.
It's at Jim-Moore- like 106 or something.
Or do you want people to, send you money right now? Or?
I would appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah.
But
I'm
you
only
tell
making
me,
$20 an hour having guys walk past me, that last night at the concert. So
you tell me. If they fire Scott Service, do you think anything changes?
well, I'm starting to think that maybe they should, just because it's the same old message. Just like I relate it to Pete Carroll, and that it might be time for new leadership. And let's face it, Puck. Any other city but Seattle in MLB probably wouldn't be with Dipoto and Service this long. What's it been, 9 years? That just wouldn't be acceptable. One playoff appearance in 9 years. You'd make a change. So if they could get a different message out there, I don't know what they're doing coaching wise. I get a kick out of Service though, continuing to maintain. Did you hear what he said yesterday? This is a good offensive club. Well, everyone knows that it's not. It's just not. And it's one thing for a manager to support his guys and say, I appreciate it when he says, I believe in my team, still love these guys. And that's all true. It's not true to say this is a good offensive team. It's just not. And then, why didn't somebody just say, well, Scott, God, I'd be a dick as a reporter now. I'd be like that guy last night walking past me. But somebody had to say, Scott, good offensive team. You're the worst in baseball. You're average wise, OPS wise, WRC plus wise. Pick whatever fucking alphabet letter you want. You're no good. You're no good. So how can you say you're a good offensive team? Your thoughts? Yeah, I mean, what? Headley be yanking me out of there like Pearson used to yank me out of the Seahawks stuff.
You asked the question. Why can they look like that against the Mets and look like that against the Tigers? Because that's what they've been all year long. It's a roller coaster of emotion. They're a maddening team. They just are. Hey, real quick, I talked to this guy last night. I said, hey, you know what? You're back in Montana. Do you want to do the Friday appearance solo, or do you want to do a surprise visit with Jim Moore? And then we were kind of going back and forth, and then I think I confused him with a bunch of texts. Do you want a surprise Ryan Divish visit? You haven't talked to Divish in months.
What, you're going to put him on right now after I trashed him?
Yeah, he's right there.
Oh.
He's in a car again. He's driving.
Wait
a minute.
He should be in Pittsburgh. Why is he not in Pittsburgh? If I was covering the Mariners for the Seattle Times and I was the #1 beat writer, I would be in Pittsburgh this weekend. I mean, the best pitcher in the National League is going against the best pitcher in the American League, and he's somewhere in fucking Montana?
Jim, they have restraining orders for people like Livy Dunn. They wouldn't allow things like that for you to be there.
He doesn't know who Livy Dunn is. He has no idea who that is.
Yeah.
I mean,
look. By the way, I was upset yesterday, Divish, because Dave Wyman. I happened to be listening to that one of the shows I got fired from before the last show I got fired.
It's a long list.
Yeah.
Did he step out on us again?
Wyman called you our guy Divish. And I'm like, no, it's Puckett's guy Divish. Okay.
Jeez.
Hey,
unbelievable.
They bought me drinks one time down at spring training, and I still go on when I can. And plus, I make fun of all this. Look, I think we all can agree that Dave Wyman is one of us. He's grouchy. He's older. He likes bourbon. I mean, I don't need a lot more in my life than that. He longs for the old days when you could decapitate a player running across the field in football. I mean, those are the things we look for in life.
This is such a treat that we get a bonus Ryan Divish here. I think Divish is doing this so he can not knock out not having to do the regular one later.
No, I'll do the regular. This is like crosstalk.
Okay.
This is like crosstalk. I can go, I'm going to I'm going to do a video and talk about Scott Service because I don't even know what to say because I can't wait till 3 o'clock. And I don't really like my co-host either, so I'll just talk to a video screen.
Stop it.
No, Divish, you're right about that.
You can't do that.
You're right about that.
I mean, Softy hasn't liked anybody that's worked with him for how many years now?
You don't know that.
Remember him and the Red Baron couldn't even get along. I mean, look, Josh was lazy and kind of a goofball, but he's like the nicest guy ever who kicked up in life, who punched up in life.
He was lazy, though.
Oh, yeah, he was unbelievably lazy.
Okay, so you're driving. Is this safe right now, what you're doing?
Puck, it's Havre, Montana. The speed limit's 25 in most places. Not even that in a lot of places. So yes, I'm good. I'm taking my girlfriend's vehicle to the shop. It needs to
Okay.
have something to be serviced.
Jim, you haven't talked to Divish in months. Go, fire away.
You're in Havre, Montana. Did they rename the high school football field for Ryan Leaf?
No, that's Great
Oh,
Falls is where he's
Great
from.
Falls.
Kegel's from Havre. Matt Kegel.
Oh, Kegel's from Havre.
Oh, he is? I didn't know that. I didn't know
God,
Matt Kegel's from Havre, Montana.
Yeah, his.
I love Matt Kegel. I feel bad. I had column regret one time writing about Matt Kegel. He
when he lost the Apple Cup. When he lost the Apple Cup.
And I regretted that. I talked to Matt years later about that, telling him how I felt bad about that. I was so happy. Hey, Ryan, I was so happy the next year when he took us to the Holiday Bowl and beat Texas, and he had a great year. That was fun.
That kid took a beating his junior and senior year physically too. Matt, so I had that day that the Cougs lost that Apple Cup. I had Montana, I believe, also lost to Montana State for the first time in like 11 or 12 years. And then I also had a 3-team parlay with $250. I bet $250 on it at 6.5 to 1. And all Matt had to do was just hang on to the lead. And I was dancing. And
did he have a separated shoulder in that Apple Cup?
I think he did later. But, I think, what did he fumble right away? Then he threw the pick. And then,
he just wasn't ready. And, he was still green. That was a tough spot.
And I was kind of mad at Gesser and at Price because, they put Gesser in a bunch of situations where he could really get hit. And then I was like, what are you doing? You're winning. Just play with the lead. Oh, God, no. That they're trying to get him all conference and who knows what else. And so they rolled him out twice and he got hit. And then I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, but that also authored one of the greatest performances in the history of Cougar football when the man took us to the Rose Bowl with a must-win game at UCLA on a broken leg.
I know,
unbelievable.
He was tough as hell. But those, I'll say that, all those Cougar quarterbacks, think about the Cougar quarterbacks that they've had that have just taken a beating and just kept playing. What was the kid from Spokane that just got the hell beat out of him? Oh, God. And then
Connor Halliday.
Connor Halliday.
Oh, my God.
Lacerated liver.
Yeah, and then the kid with all the concussions, they beat themselves up for that program. It's you can say that you are, and I'm I can't believe I'm slurping the Cougs here.
What's going on?
The kids that go end up playing there, and the ones that stay, there's something that really you can tell just means something. It's not a stopover place going to the NFL because a lot of these guys aren't probably going to the NFL, and so how they play and everything else, there's a. That's why they're still pretty loyal to the school as well.
Hey, Jim, ask him a baseball question. You got him for a couple minutes. Come on. No one wants to hear him talk. No one wants to hear him talk about the Cougar quarterbacks. Great, Jesus.
Well, why I'm also, Jim? Why I'm not in Pittsburgh? Because I wasn't in Detroit, and that doesn't make me sad from the city aspect. If you'll notice this year, and a couple of players mentioned it to me that.
Uh-oh. See,
dude, we lost him.
Yeah, I think we did lose him.
What happened?
Oh, there he is. You're back.
So what are you doing? Are you going to LA?
Yeah, I'm going to LA. And so Adam will do Detroit, Cleveland, both Houston trips in St. Louis. So and he's done an Oakland trip. So that's the hazing aspect of this. He has to do the crappy trips, and I get to do the good ones.
Okay, all right. So you don't feel guilty that you're the number one beat writer and that you're not there for these games?
No, after 5 or 6 seasons of doing all 81 road games and doing serious damage to my liver, I don't know. I don't have any. I have no guilt anymore. I don't have any regrets about the job. It's do you regret getting wasted that time at the Hydros and then not being able to make it?
Oh, you remember that? Yeah, that was my most unprofessional moment as a journalist. I wrote the story from my hotel bedroom there
And
in
who fed you the quotes? Did you call the PR
John
person?
Peoples from the Seattle Times, and then Steve
Yeah.
Turcotte was working for the Hydro
Steve
I mean,
Association.
like, we're
Turcotte.
talking about
Yeah,
a national award-winning hydros rider that couldn't even get out of bed.
That's
But then
right.
again,
He got in
yeah.
the Hall of Fame.
I mean, like,
I still wrote a hell of a story, though. That was one of my finest moments as a journalist, actually.
it's right up there with Grantland Rice. I mean, it's right there. So go ahead, Jim. What do you got for?
Yeah. Ask him if firing
Okay,
Scott Service would mean anything.
here's I've got like a question about Scott Service and Jerry
Okay.
Dipoto, because I'm thinking more and more about it. Like Pete Carroll, the Seahawks finally decided, you know what, Pete's a good coach, but we're kind of in the middle here, and we need to move on. And if we're gonna, maybe we'll fall back with McDonald, but maybe we'll go to greater heights with this new younger coach. I mean, Dipoto and Service have been here for 9 years, and Puckett just talked about it. You know, ownership has got them handcuffed a little bit with what they can do roster-wise. But do you think it would be in their best interest at some point, like if they don't make the playoffs this season, do you think that it's time to make a
Well, I
move?
think if they don't make the postseason, they probably will make the move. I'd be stunned. I mean, like, I guess they could exercise the option for next year and let them do a lame duck year and try and prove it. But I mean, it's kind of the ownership's call. And the ownership has to take some culpability in the predicament that they're in. It was nice adding Randy Rosarena and Justin Turner, but like, if they had just added more to start the season, if they'd been better in the offseason or given them more wiggle room, I think we both all would agree that they would be better than what they are right now, because they would have better bats, so that 10-game lead wouldn't have dissipated. I mean, I haven't looked up the numbers. I was going to do this before I went out with Puck, but the number of games where they've scored 2 runs or fewer is just absurd. So I don't know. I mean, like, I guess they could do it. John Stanton, I think we all know that this Mariners ownership group can sometimes be loyal to a fault. And I guess sometimes it's also like being around this. Since I got here in 2006, I've covered Pavese, and then Pelikutis was the interim, and then Jack Z, Kingston was the interim, and then Jerry. And I covered 8 managers. We're like, is it really that? Is it the managers or the players' fault? I mean, like, realistically, this regime has gotten more success than any of the other ones in terms of getting more winning seasons and getting to the postseason. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, it's a hard look in the mirror. Is it the fault of the manager and the GM? Is it the fault of your ownership for not willing to invest? I mean, I've said it before. The Mariners ownership can sit there and say that they want to win. They want to win. Yeah, we want to win. They don't have the courage to do what it takes to win. They don't have the courage to invest their own money into upping the payroll and investing and doing what it takes to win. And maybe you can't get these guys, maybe not. But there are ways you can do that. Like, if you want to make this place more attractive to free agents, then it costs money. It's not just the contract. What do you do to make it more attractive to free agents? Like Puckett's talked about, get them a special plane. If they got to if they're going to travel more than anybody else, get a different plane. Don't just use the cheap Delta, or just don't use the standard Delta or Alaska charter that you get. Spice it up, make it better, do something to attract these guys. It costs money. That's what the bigger problem is. And they can't sit there and say, look, I don't give a shit about Root. I mean, I care about Root in the sense that I have friends that work there, but how many crowds have they had over 27,000 this year? I mean, that's the thing. How much money are they making? Yeah, they may have lost money on the halfback, which we all kind of know they lost money on that, but they're making money on the stadium. They're making money on the product, And so it's like, I guess I feel sorry for Scott and Jerry in the sense that, like, maybe they could have done more if they'd been given more. But right now, this is where they're at. And I'm sure they've said, hey, look, we can work within this. We can find a way to win within this. And that's what they always believe. You just do it smarter or better or whatever. But, they aren't winning. And that's the problem. They're not winning, and they're struggling to kind of get any traction. We knew this would come, the stretch where they would struggle again. But, man, like, it's just come at the worst time where Houston's gotten hot. And I don't know. I mean, can they recover? Nothing we've seen, other than the fact of how Bryce Miller and Brian Wu pitched, says to me, oh, yeah, they can overcome a 3-game deficit. Other than that, the pitching. Now, think about the offense, and this is with Randy Arozarena, and this is with sort of Julio back. You know, like, they've done this to themselves. They put themselves in this position, you know, and now they got to figure it out. But, you know, it is kind of like firing Scott and Jerry, because, like, people will say, oh, well, Scott lost that game. No, they got one goddamn hit. That's how you lose a game. You got one hit.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
right.
Like, you may not have liked the bullpen strategy, but the bullpen strategy that they've had to run out there is basically, we're just trying to survive because we don't know if we're going to hit. And when you don't score in the top of the 10th, and that's happened 2 times, you're going to lose almost 60% of the time. I mean, when you're the road team and you don't score, you're screwed. I don't care how good your bullpen is.
Yeah, the other day, or the game on Thursday. So the Miller thing, and people complaining about leave him in, leave him in the game. You can't have it both ways, because you went out and acquired this Yimi Garcia, who's an excellent reliever. He should have been able to take care of the 8th inning for you. But and then you hand it over to Munoz, and the fact is that they just. Nothing is going right for them. You're right. I mean, they didn't lose this series. They didn't get swept because of their pitching and their bullpen decision. They swept because their offense stinks.
They hit .098 in the series. .098. That's like Jim's alcohol level most days.
No, he's cut back. He's cut back.
Well, it's because it's.
Yeah, I've been drinking. Yeah, lately I've been drinking every day, though. I mean, not that much, but yeah.
Hey, I got the stat for you if you want, because I saw this on Twitter last night.
Oh, Arkansas posted the number of 2 runs. They scored 2 runs.
Yeah, this is unbelievable. Jim, I don't know if
this is actually
this is from Luke.
As somebody
Arkins.
who watches it, it's very believable.
But it's. I mean, when I saw this last time, I'm like, that is unbelievable. So, Jim, from Luke Arkins, you can follow Luke on Twitter at Luke_Arkins. Most quality starts with 2 or fewer runs scored by the starter's offense. Seattle, 28 leaders in the clubhouse. Okay, next is Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay at 16. The Mariners' record in those games, 6-22.
They've lost more than 22 qualities. They're 6-22. I think they've lost something like 27 quality starts of the 60-some that they got, or 70-some.
Jesus, God, that's so bad.
I got a kick out of it yesterday. I was listening to the post game show on 710, and they had to pull out. They actually used the highlight of the bases loaded walk.
Well, that's all there was. Yeah. That's it. That's all they could use.
That's another thing.
Scored a run. That's all they scored.
They get bases low there. They got to get more is the problem. They've had some tough breaks too, but this is what That's why I don't get everybody gets so upset about these bullpen decisions. But you're working with the slimmest of margins at all times, and you really only have 2 guns you can fire. You have Munoz and you have Yimi Garcia. The rest of them haven't been that great. So you're just like,
well, Snyder's
been good. But he's not your classic leverage guy. And you're right. And he's been. You take him over the rest of what you got. I mean, you ride the hot hand, and they rode the hot hand, and he got beat the other day. So it's because people say, well, why didn't you pitch Munoz again? Well, the odds of you winning that game are pretty slim, anyways. And then you come back and you had him available for yesterday, so he could pitch. Yeah. If he pitches 2 in the game before, then you don't have him for the next day when you only score 1 run. So I mean, to me, if you don't score 3 runs in a game minimum, and that's still too low. If you don't score 3 runs in a game, then you can't bitch about the pitching or the pitching decisions. You lose the game because you only scored 3 runs.
Okay, Ryan, if you had been there yesterday, Puck and I were talking about this a little while ago. If you had been there when Scott Service said, I have a good offensive club, would you have called him on that, or would you have restrained a snicker, or what would you have done? I mean, does he bristle much at you guys? Because clearly this is not a good offensive club. I understand him feeling that way or trying to fake like he feels that way, but I would have appreciated if some reporter there had said, what the hell are you talking about, Scott? Or Skip, I mean, you don't You don't have a good offensive team.
Yep.
And if you don't believe that, let me trot these stats out for you and then hold your phone up to them and show them, that they're hitting 216
I
or
think
whatever.
it's more like he's telling himself that so he can believe. I think like we all know that they're not good.
Yeah.
I think they have the potential to be good, but we've been saying that all year. This is who they are. I mean, maybe when they get Julio to 100%, if he ever gets that and get JP back, maybe. But like they're just going to be inconsistent at times. For whatever reason, they're in that stretch where they're just striking out a ton. I mean, I didn't think the strikeouts were as bad. It's more when the strikeouts have come. But like we just like you kind of knew that Randy Rosarena wasn't just him and Turner weren't going to fix this. They just make it marginally better because we said all you're looking for is to make them a half a run better per game. And they've been that way early on, but they have been all the time.
I'm curious what you guys think of the criticism that I've seen on social media with fans and media about the Julio Rodriguez rushing him back. Divish, you and I talked about this on Wednesday, and you told me then, hey, listen, they just don't. These rehab assignments are kind of going away. They're not doing these rehab assignments so much anymore. Now it depends on how long the guy's out. Like I assume when JP comes back, he's going to get a rehab assignment.
He has to go play the field too. JP's going to play the field.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly right. So what I don't understand about this, here's a guy. Listen, there's plenty of criticism of Julio, and he hasn't had a good season. What I don't understand is this criticism of him trying to come back and contribute to the team when he's not 100% healthy.
Yeah.
Okay, so he knows he can do one thing, and that one thing is hit, but he can't run, he can't play the field. But his desire as a competitor is to come back and contribute to the team. And instead of like, let's celebrate that a little bit. I'm gonna defend him here. Let's celebrate a guy that is willing to come back not 100% to try and help the team. Now we just crap on him to say, what are they doing? Like, this is a mistake. What's going on? But yet it's that same fan or media member that celebrates Russell Wilson, who plays a week later on the same injury. Oh, he's such a tough guy. What a gamer. Yeah. God, he putting team above himself. What did we like? I don't understand the criticism of Julio wanting to play and contribite, to this team.
Puck, I'm torn on that. I heard your daily puck drop yesterday, and I heard where you feel, where you stand on that. Is there a chance though that he could hurt himself a little more and not get to 100% as a result of playing right now? And like, if you told me he was going to be 100% for the Dodgers series if he hadn't played the last week, I would take that over what we're seeing right now, because what is he? I mean, he doesn't even look like, what do you think he is? 60%, 70? And he seems like he's in pain, and then, getting out of the way of the pitch. I don't know. I think it's fair to be critical of it. I mean, if you wonder about your superstar contributing down the stretch, if you told me you could have him 100%, if he waited another week, then I would take that over like, oh, tough guy Julio getting out there and helping the team. I understand where you're coming from, but I want to see 100% Julio. I don't want to see this 70%.
He's never going to get back to 100% this season. I mean, he's just not. It's a high ankle sprain. He's going to have to play through it. How many stories did we write about Cal Raleigh's thumb? Torn ligaments in his thumb. Caught the entire last, how many games? 45 games of that season. You talk about and it's like, oh, well, what does it matter? Well, there's a guy that has a statue out there that could only hit, couldn't run, and couldn't field by the end of his career, and you still wanted him in the lineup. I'm not saying Julio's Edgar, but they need something at this point, and the kid is trying to tough his way through it. It's like you can't have it both ways. You can't sit there, and there is a line, but he's just hitting. He's not hurting you in the field. I think the circumstances surrounding, because he came back for Sunday Night Baseball and everybody saw the ulterior motives. So what? Everybody has ulterior motives to everything they do. It's like, it's like the people who sit there and say, oh, yeah, well, loyalty, I wouldn't have done it for the money. Hell yes, you'd do it for the money. Okay? I mean, like, I don't – it's fine. We pick and choose who we want to celebrate and who we want to criticize, a lot of times based on personal opinions on other things or just the recency bias of what's happened. But there has been a segment of the fan base that's turned on Julio pretty quickly because they
Yeah.
expect so much.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and that there was plenty of people who said it's only an ankle sprain. I thought it was only going to be out 10 days. Why is this taking so long? So here's a guy that's trying to come back, trying to contribute, still a great teammate.
Exactly.
When he struck out 5 times, he was so happy for his teammates and everything else and going crazy for Robles and for Polanco. Like, you know, because you don't want to be the guy that people think is soft either. You want to play, and I think he thinks he can help. He sees what's happening. He sees the free fall. He's like, well, I better try and do something. That's that sense of responsibility we talk about.
Hey,
Yeah.
Ryan, you're with him all the time. Is he going to be, if you had to choose between good player career-wise, great player career-wise, or superstar, where are you on Julio right now?
I think he's between great and superstar. I just think he works that so hard at it. I think part of the problem is he got away from kind of what made him good, trying to be better, and that didn't work. And we've seen that happen. See it happen to Corbin Carroll. You know, players go through this. Some players have struggles in a season, and it doesn't go right, whether it's injury or mistakes. Mike Trout had some stuff like that. Aaron Judge has dealt with stuff like that, injuries and such. So it's going to be. I think the one thing about Julio is you wonder, because he plays so hard in the field and because he attacks the baseball in the outfield and things like that, if he's going to be prone to stuff like this every once in a while. But no, I think he's going to be closer to a superstar than he is just an average player. You don't have that kind of talent. You don't do what he did in his first 2 years and put up those kinds of numbers and finish in the top 10 MVP without being pretty good and having the ability to continue to do it over a long period.
You think they've got one more good stretch in them here? I mean, listen, 3 games, I don't know why this feels. 3 games to me feels like 6 or 7. I feel this just like pit in my stomach. They're not going to be able to overcome this. Divish, do you think with their pitching, they've got one more run in here, and that 3 games is not as bad as maybe that I'm thinking
if they
it
can
is?
continue to get pitching and they just do something better than they've been offensively, yeah, they've shown the ability to win with the bare minimum. They've shown the ability to win when they get 3 to 4 runs per game. That's all they're asking for.
Yeah.
You know, and that's on the offense. I mean, like, you can't point anywhere else. And whether or not, you know, Scott can believe it, but the results say it's not a good offense right now. And, you know, you've seen signs of it, but the signs of, you know, what's kind of crazy is we're seeing this all around baseball now, though, is like some of these teams that, you know, no team has really just been good all year. You know, not the Phillies, not the Dodgers. Everybody's had these stretches. I think it's just a little more parity. And you're seeing more down offensive numbers than you've seen because I don't know what it is. I think it's adjusted. I heard Passan talking about this and I kind of looked it up, but the league batting average and league on base percentage is essentially the same that it was 2 years ago before the shift changes. So
Nothing's really helped.
Would you bet on Gilbert tonight as an underdog?
Yeah, why not? I mean, like, why not? I mean, Skeens is really good, but like the one thing is he's shown if you can get some traffic on him, you can score on him. He's not Superman. But then again, against this offense isn't exactly, you know, the average either. So
Could be no hitter alert tonight. Hey, by the way, the total is 6.5 tonight on that. Everyone that's playing along with the Bet M Summer Under Tour. 39, 44, and 2 on the season. Hey, Divish, this was fun. Thank you for doing it. Let's just call this our Friday visit, and you relax. That was plenty. We'll use this for our Friday podcast. You're the best. Say bye to Jim.
Bye, Jim.
Of course, Divish joins us every Wednesday and Friday, brought to you by Chalet Bowl. Thank you, Div.
I love you, Ryan.
Love you too.
Yeah, there. Look at that guy. Huh? How about a surprise visit, Jim Moore, from the great Ryan Divish, huh?
Yeah, that was
good.
Fun. That was really fun. Is this a preview of what's to come when you go live?
Well, it could be. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I would like it to be. Yeah, but it was good. It was good to have him on there.
Yeah. No, that was fun.
You haven't caught up to him, and for how long has it been since you've talked to Ryan Divish, right? I saw him. We never had him on the radio show.
I saw him at Larry Stone's retirement party in December.
Oh my God!
In Newport Hills. Yeah, that was the same night that Shannon Dreyer did not talk to me at all.
I was there. I remember. I was there.
But Divish.
I was there. That was the last time.
Shannon just glared at me.
She did, you know, but I think she glared at you in a nice way. But that was fun. And here's the deal
I still love Shannon. It still bothers me that she won't talk to me.
Here's the deal. That was a double dip. Normally I would record Divish after this, but now I don't have to. because we've
Hey, can I
accomplished
ask
it.
you something?
While he was driving, by the way.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that
Can
was
I
safe.
ask? Okay, so why are you okay with like Garofolo being on a golf course, Divish driving, and yet when it comes to me, you don't want me on the side of the road. You don't want me in the garage.
Oh, sure.
You have to have everything like freaking perfect.
Yeah. Well,
And like
they're
Divish, Divish is out in the middle of Havre, Montana,
sure.
and you're like, oh, it's Ryan Divish. It's okay. I'm so
Yeah, it's
glad we have
simple
him.
answer. Yeah, it's they're big deals.
So
And
he's
you're
more
not.
important to your podcast than I am.
Yeah, he's
is what
bigger.
you're saying.
He's got a bigger brand.
He's a bigger deal.
He's a
Yeah,
bigger
he's
deal.
got more followers on Twitter than I do.
He's a bigger
I'll
brand.
be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bigger brand. Yeah,
All right.
huge.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Just use me. Just, however you want. Yeah.
I love using you.
I arrange my schedule for you, to be in a nice spot.
You be whatever you want. You know what? You want to just don't do it from the hole, that pit you did it from that
The
one
Cougar
time.
Round Table, you don't want me out on the road somewhere.
It's if we're gonna do the round table, the side of a road from you driving back from Seattle to Bend is not really appealing because something can go wrong.
Why would that not be appealing? Like if I'm out in Eastern Washington somewhere doing
because
it?
I think the internet connection will be bad, and when we do this, it's got to be strong internet connection. It's pretty obvious.
Was that some sort of solid internet connection we have with Divish?
It was okay. It was not bad.
It was all kind of like garbled and stuff.
Well, it was not ideal, but it was he was a surprise visit. Hey, we got to wrap up soon. You brought up Garofolo. I want to play this because this has gotten a lot of traction. It's something that we've talked about, especially when he was out with the injury.
Mm-hmm.
Was Geno Smith, and whether or not that Geno Smith. Okay, when I say the quotations, I believe he was injured, but I also think that maybe something else was at play. Anyways, Garofolo, yesterday on the Thursday show, I asked him about, whether or not they would try to do something with him contractually, if they would try.
Talked about it. They've tried to talk about it. I know that. That's been something that's been broached this offseason. So, could it be something that gets done before week one and is addressed by the team in some kind of, a lot of times a situation like this, kind of incentive package or something like that. But no, I mean, I don't sense that anything's imminent. But, a lot of players raise the issue a lot of times throughout the course of the offseason, try to get something done. We'll see.
So just to be clear, what Mike was saying, when I asked him yesterday about whether or not they'd do a contract with him, Mike was saying that Smith's camp has reached out, approached the Seahawks about something this offseason, leading up into training camp, and that it just not that the Seahawks aren't open to it, but nothing appears to be imminent on the deal. So, I mean, and this makes sense.
My sources indicate that Geno's not happy about that because he dropped his Instagram account or something, or his story. That's what I was seeing on Twitter today.
He dropped whose story?
His own on Instagram. I assume it was Seahawks related. Maybe he follows the Seahawks. There was something there where he dropped something on Instagram, and
about
everyone, everyone that follows Geno took note of it.
Was this recently?
Yeah, this morning.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm telling you, I think he was banged up. Okay. I also think that he was banged up, and I think that maybe let's take an extra day or two to just let everybody know how valuable I am to the team. Because he wants security. He's not going to play under that number next season. It ain't going to happen. They're not going to give him $38 million. So what they're likely going to do, either they agree to some type of modification to his contract right now, spread out the money to have him this year and take his cap number down next season. They can't afford him at that number. Or what's going to happen, they're going to let him play out this year, and they're going to release him by the 5th day of the new league year. There is no way he plays under that number. And if he thinks he's going to get Tua Tagovailoa numbers, $50 million, there's not a chance in hell. He's 34 years old, guys. He's going to be 35. You're not going to sign a 35-year-old to a deal that's $40 million. That would be career suicide for the Seahawks. Malpractice.
But Puck, if you're Geno, you see his point, don't you?
100% I see his point. But you can't
if
reward
I'm Geno,
him.
I'm going, my numbers are better than Tua's.
Yeah, but he wants to be rewarded because he wasn't rewarded early on in his career. That's not how it works, and that's not how sports should work. I think he's a good quarterback. He's a good quarterback. None of these guys are worth the money. He's not worth it. and they cannot do it. They cannot pay him that amount of money. Now they're kind of screwed because they don't have an option right now. Because
Well, I
Hal's
know
not the guy.
he's got some leverage there.
No, he doesn't. I'll tell you why he doesn't have leverage. And I agree with Rob Staten because I brought this up with Rob yesterday. You cut him at the end of this season, and you just say, be a free agent. How many teams are going to pay him money? A 35-year-old, $50 million. No one's going to pay him that. Who's going to pay him?
Okay, but what if you cut Geno? And I mean, Sam Howell, as much as I love him, no one seems all that high on him here. I mean, is he the guy? Is he the guy, or are you going to go into the draft? And the chances are the Seahawks are going to be a decent team this year, at least 9-8, maybe 10-7,
I don't
8-9.
know.
So they're going to be drafting in the teens. You're not going to get one of the top quarterbacks next year, and it's not supposed to be a great quarterback draft anyway.
I agree with you, but they cannot. If they want to do something now that spreads it over here for this year and next year, that's fine. Okay, fine. I'm not. I don't think anyone's opposed to that. But there is just no way they're going to go in and then pay him that amount of money next season. And what he wants, I don't know what he wants. But if he wants to be paid like those guys, no way should they do that.
How about 30? How about 30?
No, no. I'm not doing it. I just don't think he's worth it. I'm sorry. I just don't think he is. Not at that age.
If I'm Geno, though, I'm just going into this. I mean, he's one of the best deep ball throwers according to the stats, anyway, or according to our eyes. We watch Geno; he throws a nice long ball. If this offense proves to be something that he's going to excel in, he might stand to make $40 million next year.
And maybe that's the carrot. Maybe the Seahawks are the carrot. Is, hey, let's see it. You prove it again this year, and we'll see if we can pay you. I don't know, but yeah, that was fascinating. But that full interview with Garofalo is up on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Pucksports.
Yeah, from the parking lot, by the way.
Well, it was from his car and then the parking lot on his way to a golf lesson.
Okay, I just want to make that point clear.
Let's quickly wrap it up. We got Friday voicemails. We got some good ones. It's Hey, What the Puck? It's brought to you by Restoration One in North Seattle. Your restoration company lets you avoid the stress of water, fire, and mold damage with their property restoration services. Jim Moore, locally owned and operated. Make them your first call when damages affect your residential or commercial property. 206-817-8917. Visit them online at restoration1.com, the North Seattle franchise. You ready for Friday voicemails? We got some good ones.
Okay. I am. I heard my neighbor called.
Your neighbor called and also a coworker of yours. First, we start, though, with someone upset at me on the Bet M's Under Summer Tour.
Hey, Puck. I was standing at the old kiosk at the Muckleshoot Casino, and I was on the Bet Summer M's Under Tour. And yesterday, these fuckers scored 12 runs on their own. And you sold my $200 parlay. And the under is now over. I'm betting the over the rest of the year. Love you, boy. Have fun.
How did you hear? Did you hear that last week? We couldn't hear the voicemails because it was my fault. Did you hear that one?
Yeah, I heard that one. Yeah,
okay.
I agree with the caller because you're leading your listeners astray with that one.
I agree. Well, it's still a fun game though. 39, 44, and 2. It's fun though. It's interesting. It's I like it. It's a good time. We do have someone that has checked in. They claim to be a coworker of yours at the summer concert festival there down by the Deschutes River in Bend.
Yo, my name's Tristan. I work with Jim at like that Bend concert venue with security, and I've been listening to this podcast, and yeah, he really like doesn't even care about anything when he's like supposed to be doing security. Like I saw him, he asked somebody, he was like, "Whoa, that's a really cool water bottle," and I was like, "Dude, that's a pipe bomb." And I grabbed it and I put it back, and then Jim was like, "Oh, sorry, man," but he's a pretty cool old dude. But yeah, he just doesn't really seem to care about his job. Anyway,
shocker.
I love the podcast, bro.
Yeah. Tristan, what kind of coworker is Tristan?
He seems like he's high every time he comes to work. I don't know. Yeah, Tristan, he's cool though, younger guy. I try and get along with him. But hey, the other night I had
time out. That's a real coworker of yours.
Tristan?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, damn it.
I don't know a Tristan. It's possible. It's possible.
I
Hey,
was
the
really
other
hoping.
night though, I was the wander guy again. When I let the guy in with the gun
Make sure
that
that you're
one
not
time.
bringing in guns and knives.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was shown that I wasn't wanding properly. But anyway, if you have a defibrillator or a pacemaker,
Yeah.
you have to be patted down.
Correct.
And this one woman came over, and usually, they want another woman to pat them down. And then she said,
yeah.
no,
I'd
she
like
goes,
you to pat me down.
I'm fine with you patting me
Yeah.
down. And
Is she kind of good looking?
She was good looking too. Yeah.
And did you pat her down?
I took more time with her.
Did you get on her hips? Did you squeeze her butt, or what'd you do? Huh? Come on. Just tell me what you did.
If you enjoyed this pat down here, could we get together later for another pat?
Did you whisper privately behind the bushes? I'll give you a more deeper pat down.
But there was another woman who insisted on having a woman pat her down. So I had both sides of it. Yeah. Anyway.
Once again, Jim, as we continue on Friday voicemails and on Hey What the Puck, brought to you by Restoration One, my seat at T-Mobile Park is checked in one more time.
Hey, it's Puck's seat at T-Mobile Park. I'm a little lonely this week with the bumps of being on a road trip, so I got a call from my friend who owns Puck's ball washing company. Turns out he's washing the hell out of Julio's balls. We should all be grateful he came back to strike out 5 times, re-enter himself. Because as Puck says, he's a superstar. Yeah. So happy to have him back. What a great influence he is on this piece of shit team.
There's my seat checking in from T-Mobile, accusing me of being a ball washer for Julio Rodriguez. That's right, I am a ball washer for Julio.
You are.
I'll wash his balls all the time. You idiot fans can't have it both ways. You can't complain about why he's not back yet, or he smiles too much, and then when he does come back because he wants to, I don't know, contribute to a team, then I don't think he should be back. I think this is malpractice. You people are the dumbest people I've ever seen. They're idiots.
Hey, God, what a terrific way to build your podcast by trashing listeners.
That's
just
really stupid.
And then taking vacation before football season. God, I mean, that's like podcast 101. What you're doing, that's awesome.
It's just stupid. Come on. It's the same fan that praised
These are the
Russell
same
Wilson.
people that are listening to your podcast, and you're going to alienate them, and you're going to be like,
you're not. We all
screw that fat fuck. I'm going to another podcast.
We can all agree to disagree on that. I disagree with these people, and I love them to death, but I just think you're morons. Just do.
Tell people that you love them and then call them morons.
I love you, and you're a moron half the time.
Shit.
Right? You think I'm a moron.
I know. I am a moron for doing this for free.
Yeah, you're not doing it for free. You got $50 for a bet. Hey,
That's right. I'm building my brand.
You're building your brand. Last voicemail, and your neighbor has checked in here on Friday voicemails.
Yeah, this is Jim's neighbor in Bend, and let me tell you, he's not telling the full story.
Shocker.
His dogs wander around humping my dog. They piss in the yard. And also, I hear him on his phone. I guess he's doing your podcast, but he is cussing up a storm. You know, this is a family-friendly neighborhood, and this is also a dog community, but we have limits, Puck. And, you know, we've had meetings in the cul-de-sac. We didn't invite Jim. His dogs showed up because they're obviously not on leashes or anything like that. But I just wanted to get my side of the story in.
His dog showed up at the meeting.
His dogs were there, but not Jim. Right. How's real quick? How's the neighborhood drama? Are we good?
Yeah, things are going a little better.
Good.
Kathy went over and introduced herself to the guy that's not happy with my dogs, and I could tell that it was one of those meetings that he was trying to get away from her and didn't really want to be friendly.
Yeah. Well,
it's okay though. I'm still
I'm
still thinking about the gift card idea. You know, to say
no, but
no, I'm thinking about it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that was a fun visit today on a Friday. We had Ryan Divish. That was good. It was good to catch up with Divish. You look great. Enjoy your weekend. Got golf on the docket. What do you got?
No, actually, I'm driving up to Seattle today. I'm my mom's 95th birthday on Sunday, so we're getting together. We're going to go to my second dad, I call him, her husband. He proposed to her over there at Salty's, and so we're going to Salty's for dinner Sunday night.
Nice.
And it should be a fun weekend.
Good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, happy birthday. What's your mom's name again?
Maxine.
Happy birthday to Maxine. 95. That's awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Good for
95. And she's still really got it upstairs, you know.
Good.
She's just, Jimmy
awesome.
This and Jimmy that.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, Jimmy's the best, and we love Jimmy. Everybody loves Jimmy. All right. Well, all right, Jimmy, we'll talk to you again on Monday. Another edition of the Daily Puck Drop, which again airs every day, Monday through Friday. Jim's on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from at 10 a.m. And our weekly guest will drop at 1 o'clock. You'll get if you watched it today with Divish, but we'll also drop Divish separately later today. We'll just splice some things out. And then, of course, Chris Egan coming up today as well. Please like, follow, subscribe, comment on all the different platforms, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts. And, of course, the pucksports.com. We'll talk to you later. As always, we promise to be better.
No shirt, no shoes, no ties.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah.
I was born to love you. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you. But you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for? We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!